Hello, welcome back to Firehazen's Gaming. My name is Ben, and today I'm going to continue on with Rizia. So, last time out, we mostly just hung out at a wine tasting over here in College for the uncorking of the new Romus, Romus the Red vintage. So we gave a little speech, we played a drinking game with a couple of our counselors, and we apparently, well not apparently, but see how it goes, but we drunkenly asked Duchess Azaro out on a date, and then, yeah, found out that Pablo might have a bit of a crush on the king. So, we'll have to see kind of where those things take us. But in the meantime, though, I've got a couple reports here, a couple newspaper articles. So let's start out here in Zeal. So, large gatherings in Zeal prohibited. As part of increasingly tight security measures, public gatherings of over 50 people are now prohibited in the region of Zeal. While critics see this as a restriction of voices calling for a return of the region to Rizia, officials have guaranteed Rizia that the measures are merely intended to increase the safety of both Rizian and Bezics living in the region. No, that definitely sounds like they're cracking down on free speech there. Oh, and fantastic. From the Grand Duchy of Pales, construction to begin on Aureus Field Pipeline. Following our agreement with Duke Reinhardt, preliminary construction has begun on a pipeline from the Aureus natural gas field to mainland Rizia. Once the exact terms and details for our exploration rights deal have been finalized, it is expected that drilling and energy delivery will be able to commence immediately. Fantastic. I was just looking through the decrees over here to see if there's anything relating to this. Fantastic. We definitely use that money. And actually, speaking of the decrees, so I was kind of looking through it here, and let's see, where did it go? Yeah, so this hydroelectric dam, it's really expensive, but it's going to be +3 energy per churn. So I think I'm going to wait on spending any more money until next churn, because hopefully I'll have that +5 budget, so that I can spend it on this, because that looks like it's going to be a fantastic opportunity. So yeah, anyway, let's see, take a look at the newspapers here. So I have one from each, so first up from the Royal Herald. Rufus Grogg's Royal Gossip. King, Duchess popped the cork. If you weren't at the Romus the Red uncorking gala in college last night, do you even exist? For their big bash, winemaking power couple Lord Edward and Lady Safina opened their doors to the royal family, the royal council, and a who's who of the Valancourt elite, from estate owner and noted wine patron Fabian Torres to heavyweight investor Gustave Montrel. But the real guest of honor was Duchess and Councillor Lestita Azaro, whose gorgeous gown was turning heads even before His Majesty invited her on stage to pour the first glass together. A fabulous night of dancing, hobnobbing, and, of course, sampling the wares ensued, though unfortunately we members of the press were kicked out of the venue before anything juicy could happen. You'll just have to use your imagination. Interesting, okay. And from Geopolitica, Rumberg denounces Valen over Zeal claim. The Kingdom of Rumberg has officially denounced the Republic of Valen's decision to continue occupying the Zeal region past the terms of the agreed-upon treaty between Valen and Rizia, said a spokesman on behalf of Queen Beatrice yesterday. Nice. Condemnation comes as no surprise given the familial and political bonds between the kingdoms of Rizia and Rumberg. Sources say that a number of other monarchies in the Grace organization are preparing similar statements, thereby increasing pressure on Valen to relinquish its hold on Zeal. We expect that, despite the bravado Smollett showed at the recent AN session, he'll be forced to find a quick and diplomatic solution to what he claims is a national security issue. Cool. Alright, let's see here. And then, I guess, we're going to Sordland for a investment opportunity. Amidst a recession, Sordland's government, led by Alphonso, has presented a potentially lucrative bond sale trade opportunity to be discussed at the capital of Sordland, Wholesword. This royal visit will include the household and has additional expenditures. Okay, well, I didn't really want to spend money, but this could potentially be quite lucrative as well, so let's go ahead and do that. Cool, so we got a newspaper article about that from Geopolitica. No, actually, unrelated. Cool. Xena Continent positions its anti-CSP front. The Xena Continent includes many nations bolstering their stances of formidable opposition to the CSP's influence. This informal network encompasses a broad coalition of nations that are aligning their policies and military strategies to counterbalance the CSP's regional ambitions. Yet, there still persists a palpable wariness towards the ATO, hinting at a deep-seated desire for greater political autonomy. As China positions itself to counterweight to millenniumist dominance, the continent's geopolitical significance is magnified within the global rivalry. Interesting, okay. I do like all the additional world building in this. Alright, we got another report here first from Sordland. Sordland prepares to host King Romus. After we agreed to attend talks in Holsword regarding a lucrative investment opportunity, the Swordish capital now hurriedly prepares itself to host our king. Reportedly, the former royal quarters in the Maroon Palace are now at house royalty once more, even if only for a few days. Cool. So then, of course, obviously, takes us on a delegation trip to discuss bond offer. Our delegation arrived at Holsword International Airport early in the afternoon. President Alphonso and a contingent of Sordish officials were there to greet us. By the time we reached the base of Holsword Tower, the sun had begun to dip lower in the sky, bathing the city in a golden hue. My counselor, Lorenzo Escabel, accompanied me, as did Vina. As our vehicle came to a stop, President Alphonso stepped forward with a welcoming gesture. Welcome to Holsword Tower, King Romus. I can't tell you how much I've been looking forward to today. It's an occasion to celebrate the multifaceted economic partnership we're building between our great nations. Yeah, it's probably close enough to the voice I had for him before. I honestly don't remember. I haven't seen him much in this playthrough. Let's see. Let's go with that one. We appreciate the welcome, President Alphonso. As the tower defies the limits of architecture, so too can our nations push the limits of partnership. President Alphonso's gaze briefly swept across our group before settling on Princess Vina. Princess Vina, it's an honor to welcome you. Mr. Manger and our team will ensure all your needs are met during your stay. Thank you, President Alphonso. I've studied much about Sordland's recent history and can't wait to experience its culture firsthand. Consider such your service, Your Highness. Should you have any requests or need assistance, please don't hesitate to let me know. Let's just go with that. Why not? Just wait until you try Sordish Zabla, Vina. It's the best. You know our cuisine, Royal Majesty? Yes, nothing beats Zabla, good, cold glass of cabbage, or earlery maroon. But Rizia's well acquainted with our fine whiskey by now. Cabbage, on the other hand, you won't find that anywhere else. I'll warn ya, it's a bit rustic compared to your wine, but it has its own special charms. We'll continue this conversation over dinner. The views from the Volvin restaurant are nothing less than astounding. Upon entering the grand lobby of Holsword Tower, we were directed towards a lavish elevator. Cabins slowly ascended, giving us a momentary sense of detachment from the world below. The cityscape of Holsword became a moving panorama through the glass walls. From the cobbled streets of the old town to the skyscrapers of the Maroon District, the greenery of the capital park to the diversity of New Earlery, the city was a seamless blend of past and present. Quite the sight, isn't it? It's always interesting to see Holsword from this perspective. I hope your first impression of our city is a favorable one. Yeah, I can't help but admire the strategic planning that went into Holsword's development. Yes, well, the challenge lies in ensuring this development reaches all layers of society. It's a delicate task, especially in these trying economic times. The drive for progress sometimes overshadows the needs of the common folk. In Rizia, we try our best not to rattle any feathers. Vina quickly interjected. Which is not to say that we reject the idea of change entirely, President Alphonso. We're doing our best to bring the monarchy in line with the needs of the president. The elevator gently halted at the top of Holsword Tower, and the doors slid open, revealing the entrance to the revolving restaurant. Alphonso continued to talk. You read the news, Your Majesty. I won't pretend the Sordish economy hasn't seen downturn since our last meeting. But the recession of 51 was a direct result of the entrenched systemic issues we inherited. Thanks to the aggressive economic reforms I'm putting into place, our growth will only skyrocket from here. It may be a controversial move, but privatizing key sectors and, crucially, attracting foreign investment will position Sordland towards a globally competitive, prosperous, and stable future in the 60s. I have to say, such swift policy changes would be much easier to implement in a monarchy like yours. You have no idea how much bureaucracy and obstruction we've been facing. The Rizian government does have checks and balances, Mr. President, but yes, such bureaucratic hurdles are practically unheard of under our system. Gus flashed a smile. I'm almost jealous. It's been a real pain trying to explain economic growth to our more thick-headed assembly members. Just imagine, Avald, if Sordland were a monarchy again, we'd be able to push these reforms in the blink of an eye. Alphonso laughed uncomfortably. Let's go with that one. Our methods may differ, but in the end, both of us share the common goal of bettering our citizens' lives. You're absolutely right, and working more closely together is a key part of that. So, here we are. The restaurant's large windows offered an unobstructed view of Holsword's expanse. Staff guided us towards a large table. A gentle hum of conversation enveloped us as we were seated. Any questions about this magnificent panorama, Your Majesty? I'm happy to offer my insights into the various districts of our fair city. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's be polite. I would love to hear more about Holsword, Mr. President. I looked out the window. President Alphonso, could you tell us more about the old town? It's a lot like your old town of Port Razan, just newer. The city was founded on the east side of the Esco River in the early 1400s. It started as a key rest and recovery stop for traders, growing significantly during the Renan period. Its architecture from the Renan days to the sort of Shagnolian Union State era is a mirror of Sordland's history. That's right, the old town's got this timeless aura, you know. The tourists can't get enough of it. Well, what inspired the development of the Maroon District? It's quite a contrast to the old town. And that's what our late President Vichy intended. His initial conception for the district was taken over by President Tarkin's soul after the Civil War. And it was renamed to symbolize the rebirth of Holsword under the Second Republic. Its blend of modernist and neoclassical architecture reflected the aspirations Seoul held for progressive Sordland at the time. And it's got all the fancy buildings, businesses, embassies, everything a modern metropolis could need. Capitol Park and the surrounding government buildings are impressive. The park's a favorite spot for folks around here. Great place to relax and get away from the city rush. And the government buildings, including the Maroon Palace and the Grand National Assembly, are not just architectural marvels, but also the epicenters of our nation's government. These buildings represent our democratic journey, especially the Assembly, where our elected representatives work for Sordland's future. Is that a street market I see down in New Earlery? Yes, it's there every week, part of the district's melting pot charm. Ever since migrants from Earlery started settling there a century ago, it's attracted all kinds of diverse inhabitants. I call it Holsword's most vibrant neighborhood. Not to mention that the nightlife can't be beat. Remind me to take you to Cabaret Lockhaven if we have time after dinner. Awesome. Well, how do you see the evolution of Holsword? I'd say it mirrors that of Sordland itself. Been rebuilding, growing, changing with the times. And just like Sordland, it stands strong no matter what's thrown at it. Even in the face of our recent challenges. Well, what about your own history with Holsword, Mr. President? Alphonso took a sip from his whiskey and looked out into the distance. You know that I started out at Gasson in the aftermath of the Civil Wars and the Restoration period. Gasson became a symbol of our national insurgence. I remember navigating through the maze of old monarchist sentiments and the ambitions of Seoul and his new republic. Let's go with that. So would you say Gasson played a role in shaping modern Sordland? Not to be modest, but yes, under my leadership, Gasson transitioned from a state-controlled entity to a key player in the global energy market. Foreshadowing Sordland's broader economic pivot towards market liberalization, I may add. Today, the corporation stands as a symbol of our success in attracting foreign investment and technological advancement, proving Sordland's resilience and adaptability in a changing world economy. Come off it, Mr. President. You sound like a radio advertisement for your own company. Evald laughed. Let's not bore delegation further. We all know why you're really here. It's time for me to make the opening remarks for the bond deal discussion. Let's go with that one. Let's be a little bit more neutral for right now. Thank you for your hospitality and kindness so far. We're open to hearing your proposals regarding our common future. And the sound of both delegations' applause filled the room. It's encouraging to see such enthusiasm. Let's hope the spirit of collaboration guides us through the discussions ahead. Here's the start of what could be a landmark deal. To new beginnings. Let's begin. We are keen to know about the current economic situation of the Kingdom of Rizia. Our recent research and inquiries haven't been fully answered. I do know that your treasury has been seeing a significant influx of funds lately. Money that sits around is money wasted. Nobody wants that, not even the Golden Kingdom. It's great to see strong energy production in Rizia. We could arrange future purchases of energy from your kingdom if our relations develop. Sordish industries are seeing demand that not even our own gas home can meet. You've done your research, Mr. Manger, but only I and my council know the full picture. You know best, King Romus. I have complete faith in your assessment. There was a pause in the discussion as the first course was served. It was a deconstructed version of Lockhaven-style Lorsha, with a hot seafood stock poured over clams, mussels, and cubed raw salmon. After we'd been eating for a few minutes, President Alphonso cleared his throat. So, what we're offering Rizia is a chance to purchase Sordish government bonds with a 4-year maturity at excellent rates. Despite the current recession, we're on a path to economic revitalization thanks to significant investments being secured from Kino and Naraka, as well as our progressive policy reforms. As you're already aware, a key aspect of these reforms is further privatization of crucial sectors, including energy. Gasom is at the forefront of this transformation and it's poised to play a central role in our recovery. This bond issue is a chance for Rizia not only to make financial gains, but also to diversify its economy. Oops, there we go. Let's go with that one. Given the current recession in Sordland, how can you assure us that these investments will bear fruit? We need to review the economic performance indicators and further recovery plans thoroughly. Growth forecasts alone aren't enough. As I mentioned, the investments we receive from Kinan and Rock are substantial. Coupled with our own reforms, they're projected to significantly boost our economy. This is not mere speculation. Our plans are calculated based on economic principles behind a sound free market strategy. These aren't just open dreams. They're well thought out plans based on hard economic data. We're setting Sordland on a path to a robust rebound. Your re-election is far from guaranteed, President Alphonso. How can we be sure your successor will follow the economic course you've set? A valid question, but our economic policies are designed to withstand political changes. The landscape in Sordland is ever-changing. Anton Rain could well prevail in the next elections. Despite this, the bond proposals build long-term stability and growth in mind. There's no love lost between myself and Rain, that's for sure. But if you won't listen to my opinion on economic matters, you'll at least listen to Gus. Gus grinned. Economic continuity trumps political shifts, Your Majesty. I can guarantee you that. You mentioned future benefits for Rizia by signing this deal. Could you elaborate on what those might entail? Gladly. Given my chairman position with Gasom, we can explore investment opportunities in energy. Let's say preferential access to energy resources and shares, as well as a chance to be part of Gasom's revitalization, which I'm actively steering. Gasom's share sales and liberal policies could be game changers. We need to gauge how these shifts will affect the return on our bonds. By making Gasom more competitive and efficient, we're not only boosting our own economy, but also enhancing the security and potential returns beyond investment. If this bond deal and Gasom's plans succeed, it could indeed unlock significant advantages for Rizia. A prime example would be the potential reduction of import taxes on Rizian goods. Aren't you concerned about how this might affect Sordland's domestic market? Very considerate of you, Your Majesty. We'll work towards easing the concerns of Sordish industries, and ensuring this agreement doesn't cause undue strain. Your liberal economic policies, your plan to sell shares of Gazom, it's all very ambitious. Gazom's push to raise funds from the global market is likely to have significant impact, but yes, it's not without its risks. I understand that. With great risk comes great reward. Our new plan is aimed at boosting market confidence and stability. It will enhance the security and profitability of your initiative. Liberalizing Gazom should increase its market efficiency and shareholder value, boosting fiscal revenues. And this should, in theory, lead to higher bond yields and more favorable debt-to-GDP ratio. Truly a win-win scenario. Alright, well, I guess we can move ahead with more details. So far, this has all been reassuring to hear. What are your thoughts, Your Majesty? Well, both Mr. Manger and President Alphonso are economics experts. I think we can trust their judgment. Very wise of you. Our expertise and experience in managing Sordland's economy are at your disposal. And of course, we lack the many decades' experience of your esteemed Treasury Council, but we can offer you a fresh, dynamic perspective. I'd like to move on to the financial specifics of our government bonds, focusing on the returns in Rizian guilders. I'll break it down for you. We arrived today with two bond proposals, one large and one small. But based on the current status of your treasury, I'll assume our bigger and better proposal is off the table. Let's continue with the smaller one. Gus took a quick sip from his glass of Sordish wine. Now, considering a more cautious investment 3 billion Rizian guilders, potential returns in the case of a successful economic recovery is still impressive. And if our projections are accurate, Rizia could see its investment grow to about 9 billion guilders. Not as much as if you'd invested more, but nothing to sneeze at either. Yeah, I don't have that much money, so it's fine. Let's go with that one. It might also pave the way for deeper economic cooperation should this venture prove successful. Exactly. Once you've gained a foothold in the Sordish economy, the sky's the limit. Even with a more conservative investment, the synergy from our existing deals provides a solid base for further collaboration. Indeed, Mr. President, we in Rizia are definitely interested in broadening our economic horizons. A larger bond investment could serve as a strategic catalyst to expand our relationship beyond trade into broader economic cooperation. As the restaurant continued its general orbit, our second course arrived. It consisted of an airy sheep cheese mousse between two sheets of crisp pastry, garnished with a rainbow of fresh herbs and edible flowers. Interesting. I think this is supposed to be Svabli, Your Majesty, the whole sort specialty, though it's not usually this flowery. He cleared his throat. The question now is, where does Rizia see itself in the future? Is regional power in South Marcopa, or are you aiming for a more global presence? Well, we're already a global player thanks to our trade relationships with Rumberg and Grace. Getting closer to a republic like Sordland won't sit well with them. Alfonso's face darkened. You're right about that. I know you harbor family ties to Queen Beatrice, but to be frank, strengthening trade with other nations, especially ones with dynamic liberal economy, it would be far more beneficial for you than sticking with Rumberg. There may even come a time when you don't need Grace at all. Lena hurriedly made an effort to change the subject. No matter what, we Rizians do see ourselves as an influential force. Our culture, our resources, our strategic position, all of that matters to Prakopa and beyond. Lorenzo smiled at her approvingly. Well said, Your Highness, yet as a seasoned diplomat, I must emphasize prudence. Our regional commitments and immediate economic interests must take first priority. Valid thoughts, Mr. Escobar, but progressive capitalism is all about seizing opportunities, being at the forefront of economic innovation. This bond deal is a gateway to such progress. What do you say to this new opportunity, King Romist? Yeah, let's just ask him about it. Lorena, what are your thoughts about this bond deal? As someone who has witnessed the ebb and flow of international relations, I see this bond deal as a bold step forward. It's a chance to deepen our ties to Sordland and assert Rizia's economic prowess on a larger stage. Having said that, we shouldn't underestimate the diplomatic challenges that await us in the coming 4 years. Oh yes, my sympathies about the delay. Oh, I was so close. I'm saying zeal, but it's apparently just zill. It's pronounced zill, rhymes with pill. Thank you, Mr. Manger. Yes, ensuring the timely return of Zill after President Smorak's invocation of the threat mitigation protocol has the potential to cost us considerably. Even with a small investment, 3 billion gilda is a lot of funds to have tied up during these delicate times. It is a tight spot we're in, but I'm confident that expanding Rizia's international partnerships will help us get out of it. Precisely, Your Majesty. If Rizia and Sordland strengthen our bond, Valen will feel the squeeze, quite literally. Now I'm ready to decide. We may make history together, Your Majesty. Absolutely, we'll pursue small bond investment. A strategic decision. It allows us to take advantage of this opportunity while safeguarding our assets. Yes, very prudent of you, Your Majesty, though of course I wish you'd be able to invest more. I assure you your faith in our recovery will be rewarded. In triplicate. Even if the investment itself is small, we build a deeper connection between Rizia and Sordland. If I may say so, that alone is a feat. A sense of cautious optimism filled the room as the news of my decision circulated around the table. And just then, the third course arrived. It appeared to be a take on Virgin Zabla with medium rare grilled sliced beef topped with silky smooth chickpea puree. Gus put his fork down with a frustrated groan. I do apologize. This meal's supposed to give you a taste of the real Sordland, not some hoity-toity millionaire's idea of it. It's not your fault. Everyone assumes we royals want steak and caviar all the time, but truthfully, I'd kill for a giant bowl of stew. A man after my own heart. Anyway, Lorenta reached under the table and pulled out a bottle. This dish would go wonderfully with a sip of robusta red. A preview of the new Consuelo vintage before it hits the Solish market. He poured glasses for Alphonso and his minister. Both men gave murmurs of appreciation. Vina turned slightly green as she looked at the bottle. None for me, thank you. As the final course was cleared away, the setting sun cast a warm glow over the table. President Alphonso stood, glass in hand, and turned to me with an inviting smile. May this meeting herald a new chapter of collaboration, understanding, and prosperity for both our great nation. Our future will be bright. I'll drink to that. The applause that followed the toast gradually subsided, and the atmosphere buzzed with animated conversations. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a beautiful array of colors across the sky, we began preparing to leave. The evening air was crisp, and the city lights began to twinkle as we journeyed towards the Maroon Palace for the evening party. Awesome. Alright. Well, that kind of killed any ideas about my budget for this churn, but that is okay. So let's check out our overview here. Diplomatic policy. Let's purchase a 4-year Swordlish government bonds. And oops, one newspaper article from the Royal Herald. Rizia embarks on prudent investment journey in Sordland. Our kingdom has opted for a cautious yet potentially lucrative investment of 3 billion Rizian guilders in Sordland's 4-year bonds. This decision reflects a balanced approach, weighing risks while eyeing substantial returns. If Sordland's economy rebounds as anticipated, Rizia stands to gain an impressive sum of approximately 9 billion guilders. This highlights the monarchy's commitment to safeguarding the nation's economic future while exploring fruitful international opportunities. Fantastic. Alright. I don't see any articles or anything, and that is the end of the churn. So, I feel like that's probably as good of a place as any to go on conference day. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see y'all next time.